Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Critical Nonsense live show. So stoked to have you here. A year ago, we decided to make a podcast. We decided to call it Critical Nonsense. There was a hot moment where we thought it was going to be called Flatulation Purgatory. Thank goodness we did not go with that name, but it did create a really incredible inside joke. Tonight, there will be a few different types of segments, there will be a few different special guests, and there will be plenty of nonsense. Speaking of, hello? This is Aaron.
Oh, hi. Right, you're all here. What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing?
This is what he sounds like.
It's my voice. That's all I got.
And also, that's Joey.
Ow! I really had no idea how to do that.
It's cool. That's what he sounds like. Yep.
It's us. We're here. We're doing this. I can't
We're doing
believe
it. It's happening. And I'm Jess, that's all.
Carry on.
Carry on. Okay. When you first arrived, you should have found a silver envelope on your seat. I know what it says. That was a lie. You can open it now. So, and I know it might be difficult because it tells you not to listen to me, but you really should. Throughout the evening, we're going to have some special guests come up and share hot takes. Yes, you should crack them. And while people are sharing their hot takes, we want to hear what you think about those takes. And the way that you're going to show that to us is by putting up blue if you agree and yellow if you disagree. And as soon as you know where you stand, you should raise it up in the air, and then...
And disapproving looks if the takes are not hot enough.
Yeah, that's
true.
right. You can heckle.
Please. As Osei waits to give his hot take, we're encouraging the audience to heckle. This is a fantastic idea.
Anyway.
I hope everybody has
I'm
their...
sorry.
Can we mention this is the first live show that we've done?
So we'll take it all back. Please, no heckling. But let's hear one now. Let's get started, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Please welcome to the stage
I
Osei
encourage
Kwakye
yelling.
for the very first hot take of the night.
You had a
guys so
better
much.
entry than I had. You did that better.
Okay, so this one has been kind of stewing with me for a couple years now. It's probably going to be controversial, but let's dive in. Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton, an American musical, is overrated.
Let's see if you... That's no. Blue is
Blue
yes.
is agree.
Blue is
Yellow
yes.
is disagree.
Yellow is no.
Blue is yellow. Oops.
All right, Osei,
Okay.
commence.
Convince
Hear
Aaron.
me out. I have 4 points. Hamilton is really just school masquerading as entertainment. It's not much more elevated than Schoolhouse Rock. Those were well-written songs too. I'm just a Bill. Because it's ultimately a musical history lesson about the first United States Treasury Secretary. It's not that sexy. Number 2, Hamilton is heavy-handed in its performative wokeness. Against the backdrop of the 2016 election and our current political climate, it feels like another example of multiculturalism, diversity for the sake of diversity,
Someone
all
call the
coupled
woke
with an
police.
accessible hip-hop soundtrack. Number 3, Hamilton's mixing of Broadway and hip-hop doesn't actually make it worthwhile entertainment for hip-hop fans. Don't get me
Dylan
wrong.
is fanning himself in the back. It is getting hot.
So Hamilton is impressive. I admit that. But it being on the Broadway stage doesn't make it any more culturally significant than the work of Rakim, Biggie Smalls, Nas, just to name a few. And let's be honest, hip-hop doesn't make theater more accessible. No one is being tricked into seeing Hamilton. We should consider the possibility that some audiences would just prefer to spend their money on other entertainment. Beyonce tickets cost just as much. And lastly, Hamilton isn't even Lin-Manuel Miranda's best work.
True.
I'd argue that In the Heights is a better American musical because it features and celebrates an actual contemporary American community, Washington Heights. Thank you all very much.
Wow.
That was a week worth of eating Takis and farting. That was that
was
hot.
toasty? Was that toasty?
It was
We're
that
starting
hot.
there. We're
I
starting
want
there.
Do we
an
do?
ice
Okay.
Did that change anyone's opinion about Hamilton? Is there like another? Do we do a revote?
Yeah.
Do you agree with Osei's hot take?
Blues
Blue if
are
yes.
agree.
Honestly, shocking number of agrees that we're seeing.
Wow, how interesting.
Swayed. Was it the In the Heights thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm going into these blind, which has made it fantastic. This was my first response to those two, and the idea of hip hop for white people is basically what Hamilton was, and I've never heard that said before, and that's what it is.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's hip hop for the wigs, and everyone needs that, I guess.
Do you mean the Whigs?
The wigs
Oh, I
with a
see.
W.
But how is the H in front of the W?
I don't know.
Okay,
Just how
fair.
it's said. Okay.
I understood.
Great. That really warmed us up.
I
Y'all
think
loose?
Yeah.
Are
I
you guys
really-
as loose and awkwardly silent as we are right
Yeah.
now? Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's all right. It's gonna
It was
get
the
worse.
talkie
It's okay.
farts.
It's all right. We got this.
But we also have an actual topic to talk about.
Yeah. What is that, Jess? What are we talking about today?
Well, actually, I think Joey has the answer to this question.
Oh, that's a good
or
point.
the actual question.
So when we decided to do a topic for the live show, we were trying to figure out something that would be germane to the fact that we were doing a live show and that we've been doing this podcast for a year. And what I realized was that this podcast is essentially just an opportunity for me to have scheduled play every week on Friday mornings. It is my version of recess, and it started getting me thinking about playing. It's kind of a nerdy recess, really.
Very
It's
nerdy
like-
recess.
It's a recess for indoor kids.
Yeah. Which is why the three of us are doing it.
Yeah.
Like, that makes a lot of sense.
We open with a 20-sided die to see who goes first, and perfect 20. I got this topic. So, thinking about that and sort of starting to dig into play a little bit, I realized that there's a bit of an assault on play. That's provocative language for a live show.
Oh my.
Yeah.
A bit. A
Yeah.
bit.
And thinking about play, I was sort of realizing that without this sort of scheduled opportunity that I create for myself every week to do this, I don't make a lot of other opportunities, and it feels like adult play is not really a thing, and maybe in some industries, but it was a slow burn.
That was-
a slow burn.
Oh, Joseph.
But I wanted to know, why is play so hard for adults? Yeah.
Every
This is how
time
it
we do
works.
it like that.
Yeah.
That's the wood block. I mean, first and foremost, we got to talk about the whole, play being under assault. Because you're right. I think that culture today, in general, tries to venerate and elevate work over everything else, and definitely at the cost of purposeless, meandering enjoyment. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that what play is? Or
I mean-
how do we want to define it, I guess?
I'm not going to use specific psychologists that I have literally written on these cards that define play that way. Won't
I
even
would
look at
never.
it. But, however, play can very often be described as something that is done only for the sake of doing it. So it's fundamentally aimless, it's fundamentally purposeless, and it's reinforcing in its own action. And that is the complete opposite of work. Work is about production, is about moving toward a goal. And so those two things have to be diametrically opposed, and work, we are a work-obsessed culture. That's where we are today.
Well, there's this side conversation that happens in culture right now about the hustle, your side hustle, rise and grind, all of these things, right? Where in the time where you may have historically been enjoying yourself, you need to create a startup, and that is an important facet of millennial existence. But I think it's not just for adults, it's also under assault, in quotes, for children as well, right? The sort of most surprising thing that I found is the increase in anxiety. There's a bunch of psychologists and people doing studies on this thing. The increase in anxiety that we see in culture may actually be directly correlated with the reduction in sort of free play of children, right? And when you hear about Gen Z and millennials are the most anxiety-ridden groups of people in America.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. You also see that those same groups having had like the most structured play of anyone in history, right? Like we've talked about like free range play of like the 4 generations of a family where the great grandfather had like 11 miles of play zone, and the grandson now today has like 50 meters of free range play area, and so like that constriction on play has carry-on effects.
Wait, but the playground technology has advanced so dramatically.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the new playgrounds?
It's outrageous. Those like zip lines that kids can go down that like turn into Transformers and shit.
Or the garbage playgrounds, like
Yes.
the dumpster playgrounds.
Dumpster. Adventure playgrounds is the non-pejorative, and
Sorry.
New Hampshire inspired.
but junk
So
playground
sorry.
is also accepted, so I guess it's fine. Dumpster fire playgrounds.
So what is an
Say
adventure
that.
playground? What is
No,
this?
adventure playgrounds are these places where kids are allowed to go and hurt themselves, effectively, is what it equates to. It is like, here's a power tool, here's a hammer, here's some metal, you may fall off of this thing. It is, in all, like for all intents and purposes, it is a place where adults are not allowed to be. Literally in these zones, like adults are not allowed to be in the area for 6-year-olds or over. There is like 1 to 2 adults that are like play workers, I believe they're called.
What?
And they are just like, allow me to point you to the hammer and the hacksaw.
It's like an usher for children?
Yeah.
Amazing.
But they're like, the whole point is that they're not supposed to intervene and that you can just like be a kid. You're like allowed to just show up and like climb a tree and like hang a rope and see what happens. Like you're young, bones bounce.
Somehow.
Yeah, there's more osteoblasts than sites. It's
Life's
good.
holding.
No osteoporosis in 6-year-olds.
But I mean, we're in an era where we're more aware of how scary the world is. And we've talked about this before on the podcast, where the world feels more scary and more dangerous, I should say, than ever before, which is probably forcing us to try to create or try to manage a lot of safe spaces for kids where they can't hurt themselves, where they can't explore, because we want to protect them from all the scary things in the world.
Yeah, but like who here ever got a boo-boo and still made it to this show?
I
right?
didn't. I didn't make it to the show.
I put nails through parts of my bodies by accident. I've fallen out of very high
Oh, your
places.
poor
There are
parents.
only minimal effects that you can see today. But like there are other points too, right? Like a kid breaking their arm is fine, but like some of the studies are saying like not being able to play as a child is as predictive as any other factor that someone will wind up in prison.
Wow.
Which is wild, right? Like literally you're saying just don't do anything to them and they'll turn out better than if you don't. Right? Like that has to be at least be comforting, I would think, to parents, of just being like, you can bring them to the park and not talk to them for 4 hours and leave them alone, and they probably won't go to prison.
Well, play is also probably.
It's a low bar.
Well, play is also something
Sorry
that is
for my daughter.
Play is something that is not just for humans, right? Like
Yeah.
like increasingly we're realizing that more and more animals have a propensity to play. And it's
Yeah.
not just mammals. There's a turtle in the DC.
Yes, I love that you look at me like Jess needs to know.
This
Have
is
you
really
heard about
important
this
for you.
turtle?
It's a turtle that's
Box,
actually
stripe, tortoise, where
I can't remember. It's just a big turtle. So it's a turtle that in the 80s they noticed that the turtle was actually hurting himself. He was scratching himself because he was bored and he was really unhappy. And a number of researchers set up slow motion cameras to, after they put like a hula hoop and a couple other like toys around him, and they found when they sped up the footage that the tortoise was happier.
I love that you have to put it. You're like,
It could
turtle
be
play
regular
is still
speed.
very
real
slow.
slow.
Yeah.
He's like moving hula hoop. Like it's very slow.
Yeah.
But they recognized and it unlocked that animals can be bored and that animals need play in the same way that we need a purposeless activity to keep us moving forward and to just find pure enjoyment out of life.
Okay, so then if a turtle can play, why can't adults play?
Because we're busy.
We're so
We're
busy.
that busy, we can't like roll a hoop around.
Real quick, the one thing I'll say about animals, and then I'm going to adults.
okay.
This is Jess's favorite part of the show.
Yes.
is there are like all these videos that you can find online. There's the one that comes to mind is of cross-species play is a husky that was chained to the ice, and a polar bear is like approaching this husky to eat it, 100% going up to eat it. And the husky's response chained to the ice is just like going down into a play bow, if you've ever seen a dog do a play bow. And the polar bear was like, oh no, that's better, I'm not gonna eat you. And there's video of them just playing for like 10 minutes, and then the polar bear walks away. And so it goes beyond species, which is kind of nice.
And this does go to the adult's point, because a lot of play, especially, I don't know why I know so much about play in animals, I just got a puppy, that's why. Is that play, especially in animals, is usually a mix of like sexual behavior, predatory behavior, and otherwise like aggressive behavior, which are all things that as human adults, we learn not to bring into public, like not to be things to celebrate. Like, that's what it's all about. So, I'm just saying.
So, we have to play with our clothes on, and that is why it's not
we
fun.
just can't.
It's just not fun. We're making play not fun.
We're messing it up.
No, one of the interesting things I also found was that we think about play in like very structured ways from how we sort of interpret when children are playing, right? Like you go to a place like a playground or something like that, like it has to sort of look in this immature way. And what was interesting is in some of the studies that are coming out in books and things like that is that people are, psychologists are just like, you can play anywhere. Like you can actually play at work. You can do these things. Like the idea of playfulness is still as effective as, in accomplishing like the positive physiological and emotional benefits that like, going to an adult playground, whatever that looks like. Dave and Buster's?
Is that for adults? Is that designed for adults?
Yeah.
What about like Costco?
Ooh,
I feel
yes,
like Costco
yes.
is my
Wait.
playground.
I'm
I
here
get
with
to
you.
sample
Yep.
things for free.
Yes.
And then I go back and again and I look at them in the eyes and I'm like, yes, I'm
How
having
much
a
did I
second
save?
taco. Yeah.
No, wait. This is great. If play is about purposelessness, Costco is literally designed for you to meander randomly through the aisles and not really know what thing you're going to discover.
But
Like, that's how
also,
it's laid out.
IKEA is designed like that, and that's a prison.
A very well
Or
designed
are
prison.
you doing IKEA wrong and you're not sitting in every chair?
There's no right way to
Okay,
do IKEA.
okay.
There's just no right way.
I'll
Rude.
concede.
No, but I mean the interesting thing, like when you think about the benefits of just like showing up to a meeting and just taking it a little bit more loosely. Like I don't know, there are sort of social mores around not making fart jokes in meetings, which I am
breaking
prone to
all the
break,
time?
Yes.
Yep.
But like I made a list of the things that they talk about. I also did research.
Oh. I haven't looked at mine.
It's
I
good
refuse
for
to
your
look.
physical health because it gets you laughing, which increases respiration. It reduces it cuts cortisol and increases endorphins. So like literally if you're in a stressful meeting and someone just makes a fart joke maybe or some other joke, everyone will feel better. And so I feel like I'm doing God's work is really is the way that I like to think
Everyone
about it.
thinks fart jokes are fun and playful.
Yes.
Yes, obviously.
Right.
The creation of laughter is sort of a positive social benefit of creating synchrony with the people that you're with. It improves creativity, which,
I
can't
guess so.
be a bad thing, and is a massive reducer of depression and anxiety. So like tying it back to that point at the beginning when we're talking about like a generation that is maybe a little uptight and scared or whatever, however you might define our crippling anxiety, maybe we just need to play a little bit more.
I feel like we almost certainly do, and it's just a matter of why aren't we already doing that if it's so awesome?
But it's also that play is risky because play requires vulnerability. I'm going back to puppies again, right? Like the puppy exposed belly. Like that's about letting yourself be comfortable with anybody in any situation. Like letting your freak flag fly. And that was hard to say.
Because it's about aggression and sexuality.
Right,
and,
exactly.
yes.
No, but like letting yourself feel comfortable in all these spaces when it feels like the world is closing in on you, where, you know, we're worried about rising rents and not having enough space in our apartments to have family over and even feel social outside of that. Like, there are real stressors that are amplified. The world is a horrible place. That's basically what I'm saying.
And basically what you want to hear in a moment when you're feeling all of that is you should just go play.
Right.
Like that,
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
true.
it's effective.
That's true.
No, I mean, one of the good things about how people are starting to think about this, there's some guy named Stuart Brown. I think he's a doctor. I don't know. He talked about, he has a book and he goes through this exercise of doing play histories, of like going back through your own experience and trying to identify your favorite moments of play. Like, when were the times where you were having the most fun as a kid? And I think it's sort of a guided exercise. But the whole idea is like the things that you found fun as a child, like going to Costco, for instance, are
Still for sure now. Like,
are
definitely
probably still the
now.
things that you find fun now. And so, like, being able to take that moment and be like, what are the things, you know, like, I feel like one of the hardest parts about being like, I need to play more is like, as an adult now, you're like, what do I do?
Right,
Like,
right.
do I go to a bar or like what? Watch
You
a
turn on Duncan
sports
Chic.
ball game.
No. You go home, you turn the lights down real low. Duncan Chic, barely breathing. And just stand
Set
up and
the
just
mood.
sing it. And yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you release that oxytocin
Yes,
that you need.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
play.
I think that's what we need. We need more suggestions on how adults should play.
This is true.
Yeah, we've landed on Costco and Duncan Cheek. I think we need
Honestly,
a
that's
lot
good,
more
right?
suggestions.
Get it all out.
That's
We've done
really all we
real
need.
good
We
work.
sound like a real good time.
Well, I'm gonna go with microplay, right? So to your point, Joey, when we think about play as a very structured thing that takes intention and time and scheduling, then it's really easy for it to come off the schedule because there's too much other stuff that takes it, you know, that takes that space.
Yeah.
So literally, like, just playing the song that you like and mouthing the words a little bit for 2 seconds or hard to do a lot of words in 2 seconds. Singing a quick song to yourself, like singing in the shower, whatever. Like, allowing yourself to have little bursts of play that you can sprinkle throughout your day is probably a healthy way to make sure that we get that levity, get that like release and that fun like more often.
Yeah, I mean, I think like there is sort of an interesting point about not taking like work so seriously as a part of being play. Like, they talk about children's play as being work play, like when they're at the junk playground or whatever it is of like building a thing, even though it doesn't matter what you build. And so like maybe just have like a little more fun at work.
Well, there's so much like classical. Jess is like, the segment is over. Come on. The last thing that I'll say is that we've really fused play and work together, and even like the historical ways in which play has been studied and played back is always thinking about how play is productive. Like,
How can we make people play so they're more productive at work?
Yeah, like teach them skills that they can take on to be a productive member of society. And so if we sort of flip
Teach the
that on
children
its
well.
head and let them lead the way.
Yes.
Okay, Whitney Houston, you all knew that.
I was going CSNY, but I will gladly accept
we
Whitney.
differ on this. If we allow ourselves to flip that a little bit and find ways to make work play, how do we find ways to make the cells in an Excel spreadsheet more of like a silly map? Oh yeah. Like, there are lots of ways to just try to make the mundane.
We're still workshopping
silly.
this.
Yeah. Come back in an hour.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of ways to make work itself fun, and if we take those moments, we're better off for it, probably.
Thanks, guys. For our second hot take of the evening, please welcome Hannah Yeager to the stage.
Woo!
The block is hot.
Hi. Hello. My hot take is phones should not be put in phone cases.
Keller Royal.
Where are we going?
Ooh, we've got a
Ooh.
vote here. We've got some yellows. We've got some blues.
That's
Oh,
fine.
my word.
I don't
Oh,
need
my
your
word.
blues. Why spend all of that money on a piece of technological art only to put it in a plastic sock? Why? It's like wearing a shower cap after a blowout. It's like leaving the weird plastic film on all of your appliances. It's like Giving the Mona Lisa clip-on bangs. Why? Phones should just be put away in safe places. In your drunk hands, not a safe place. While you're walking down the street, not a safe place and also very annoying to other pedestrians. While you're driving, not a safe place. Just put it away. Don't get me started on pop sockets. That is it.
Bye, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah.
It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife.
I'm not doing the rest. I refuse to do the rest. Where did we land on that? Was that blue? Was that green? Did we? Are we?
There was a
where
lot
are
of
we
yellows,
at? There's
yeah.
Most people.
Mostly, yeah.
And is there anyone, I'm just curious, anyone who feels a certain way but then has the opposite situation with their phone? Yeah,
There we go.
I knew
There
that
we
was
go.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I mean, what do you guys think?
I was shamed by my wife into using one, but I agree with Hannah.
No, all phones naked, I believe.
That's
And
just
the
what
rest
they
is
were
drag. That was
designed.
a-
They were designed for not. I mean, like Steve would be rolling in his grave.
Steve, you're on first name basis now?
Mr. Jobs.
Much better. Much better. Yes.
Put some respect on his name.
Sprinkle it. Sprinkle it.
I'll leave it there. Okay. Next up for our second segment, we have live clickbait. It's a segment of our show where we invite a special guest to choose their top 3 of something, and then we discuss those things.
3 of them.
There are 3.
Shocking.
This week, we have special guest / cultural strategist / sometimes writer with an all-encompassing cloud obsession, Daisy Walker. Welcome, Daisy Walker, to the stage.
Yeah.
Let's trade seats.
Welcome to the stage, Daisy Walker.
Hi there.
Oh, hi, Daisy.
How are we doing?
It's good to
with
see
this?
you. Yeah, no, we're doing
Nice
great.
to see you
Doing
too.
great.
Should we
Yeah.
open by talking about Claudia Schiffer?
Yes. It is my small Instagram-based messenger group about clouds. And it's called Claudia Schiffer. And it's freaking delightful. And yeah, we share cloud poetry, any clothing with clouds on it, different clouds that we've seen in the sky, others that we'd like to share from Instagram.
Occasional cloud shaming?
Some cloud shaming, yeah. Sometimes
like-
it gets super political also.
I
Political
love-
about
what?
clouds?
What does that look like?
It got political because someone shared a cloud over Sao Paulo because of the burning Amazon. And then we discussed kind of top political assassinations, which included Bolsonaro. It led to various other people that the Cloud Club wanted to off. And yeah, you know.
Cloud Club is a dangerous
Yeah, the
place.
first
Yeah.
rule about Cloud Club is...
Don't talk
um,
about Fight Club.
Yeah.
Before we get into your live clickbait, I just wanted to say I'm slightly disappointed that we're not talking about your British expat fear of ticks.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk about that all day.
I mean, maybe
I don't know if there's anyone else in here who's British. How do you guys feel about ticks? Terrified, right?
not good.
Not good. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I tend to talk about with my other British friends is like tick terror. It's all I can really think about in America.
There's so much to be afraid of.
Yeah, right.
And yet ticks are at the top of the list. I get it. I get it. I have a puppy.
Oh.
Did I tell you that I have a puppy?
Oh yes, please. The box or the hat. Oh, the blocks.
All right. Are we doing this?
We're doing this.
We're doing it.
Are we ready?
Time to clickbait.
I feel
I'm
like
ready.
it's important that we introduce what the top 3 is. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here's the top 3.
Hold on. Pause.
Okay.
Are you ready? That's right. All right.
We got them going with ticks. That was just the amuse-bouche.
You have no idea. It's actually completely unrelated. Instead, we're talking about what are the top 3 things you never know you needed to know about fungi.
Yes.
The room is exciting.
Oh, wait, I have
They
to do the
are.
block.
They are. Yes.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
How do we start this? Because can I just say I saw you guys had notes, and then I was like, I didn't bring a note.
It's all good.
I
it's
have
all
one
Good.
crappy post-it. But
The real reason why we have notes is because we didn't know a whole lot about fungus coming into this.
No. So, what do we need to know about fungus, fungi, etc.?
Okay, I'd say first up, we got to know about the banana apocalypse.
Da-da-da.
You are living up to the live clickbait title.
I'm in.
I would like to start with, so there's a myth, I found out that it's actually not true, that, do you remember like banana sweets or banana medicine from when you were a kid?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
And
had
the
my
way-
tonsils out when I was 3, and it tasted like bananas.
It tasted like bananas, but
I'm tonsilless. That's intimacy.
but would you say that the medicine tasted like bananas or tasted like banana adjacent?
Oh, it's like right on the outside of banana.
Yeah.
It's like banana, fake banana.
Yeah.
Faux nana.
So one of the supposed reasons behind faux nana
Mm-hmm.
was because the bananas that we eat today are the Cavendish banana, which is a monoculture. And the reason that we have those is because the previous bananas were wiped out by the Panama disease, which is a fungus. And they had to choose a whole new banana. And so the rumor was that banana medicine and banana candy was based off of the old banana.
Which I looked up, and it's called Big Mike.
Oh, yes, Big Mike.
AKA Gross Michel,
Yes.
but we can't handle the culture. So
we can't handle it.
calls
No,
it
no,
Big
no.
Mike.
Yeah, Big Mike got wiped out, but is actually still available in kind of various places in Asia. Actually, if you really want to, if you want to try it. But that's not the case of why that is. It's actually that they just zoomed in on an ester, which is part of a fruity flavor of the banana, and chose the one really easy thing, and based the banana flavor off of that, which is less interesting, I'm afraid.
But aren't new bananas, aren't Cavendish bananas like also
in danger.
in danger?
In grave
Oh,
danger.
no.
From fungus?
From
There is
fungus.
fungus
Is it the same
lurking.
one again?
It is it's actually, I think it's called NP4, this one. It's an evolution of the Panama disease.
We
I
don't
just want
learn.
to say I'm way more scared of like apocalyptic fungus than I am of ticks.
This is also fair.
Oh, is that a hot take?
I don't know.
Is that a hot take? No.
I see blue in the back. I see blue. I mean, I would also throw out as an aside, I hate bananas.
Oh, yeah?
I hate them. I think they're like not a not a
What?
tasty fruit.
This
They're
isn't
Banana
a hot
runs
take moment right
are
now, Aaron.
terrible.
No, I'm sorry. This isn't a hot
Bananas
take
are
segment.
fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, it's not here.
Oh,
here nor there.
we got some.
Oh, we got some votes on bananas.
I see that. We
You're
got
pro
some
banana? Yes, got it.
pro nana.
Pronana.
I'm gonna keep
Banana.
doing this. I'm not done with this.
Well, actually, the lucky thing is actually the Cavendish banana it's less tasty and less interesting than the Big Mike
Because
And-
monoculture, right?
because of monoculture, and it might be wiped out. So maybe your banana problem is going to be.
Very
Maybe
happy about
the
this.
Cavendish banana just needs to play a little bit more.
Needs to peel back
needs
the
a-
layers a little bit, loosen up.
It needs a little aggressiveness, some Duncan cheek on the radio. And maybe it would be a better version of the banana. I think it's just scared of itself.
Scared of what it could possibly be.
Rent is expensive. Have you been on the coast of Venezuela recently?
So much danger. So what
Comfortable
else do we need to know?
What else do you need to know about
these fungi?
bananas?
Yeah. Or
So
bananas.
the second bit on forget bananas. We've done bananas. The second note on my bit of post-it says acid Santa. So the next thing that we need to know about
This is what I'm here for. actually.
Yes.
about fungus/mushroom is that there is the legend of Santa Claus. I think we all, we know he like flies around the world, comes down your chimney, delivers presents. You've been good, bad, whatever. And there's a few different
Rotund man.
he's a big guy, wears
Bearded.
red, beard, quite a lot of
Bespeckled.
white and red,
Sees you when you're sleeping.
kind of
Knows when you're
creepy.
awake.
Kind of creepy, actually. Yeah.
Something of a creepy guy.
Has Santa been me too'd? No, is that a hot
Did Joey just have a Joey?
Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
Joey.
We should have a sound effect for that.
take?
Or that would just be the whole show.
Joey. Oh.
Is that like from Blossom?
No, that's the wrong Joey. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Carry on.
So, there's some like Norse mythology around Santa and where he began, but actually, what really was probably the case was there's kind of these guys in Lapland from olden times.
Lapland, Scandinavia.
Okay.
History,
Olden
let's
times,
go
yep.
from olden times.
Following.
And what they would do is they would leave out some gifts, some kind of food for a shaman who would come on a sled, dragged by reindeer, and he would know that he was going to this certain like house, which the door would be snowed in, so he would go down their chimney. And once down there, he would take this mushroom, which I did have to write this down because I knew I was going to forget the name, Amantina mussaria, which is a psychotropic mushroom. And whilst under the influence of this mushroom, he would go to another world and come back with kind of knowledge, which would be the gift that he brought back to the people in the house. So the other thing was that whilst he ate this mushroom, and when you think of the Amanita muscaria, it's like your classic toadstool. It's kind of the Mario style.
Red and
Big
white
red with
toadstool.
He would. He would take on the properties of the mushroom, so he would become bright red with kind of white blotches. So he would start to look like this kind of red and white blotchy guy, and he would get kind of fat off of the food that he'd been brought in by. And the other point to note is that one of the side effects of this mushroom is that you feel like you're flying, and that the reindeer also really like these mushrooms.
Love this.
So it's fair to assume that the reindeer felt like they were flying as they brought this wonderful shaman in to kind of go down people's chimneys and bring gifts of reflection and eat cookies.
You're leaving out the really weird parts of this story. Also, is that the mushroom is toxic. The shaman would come eat the mushrooms, but it's not toxic when it's in urine, and they would drink his urine.
Oh,
No.
So
Yes.
a glass of milk is kind of a real upgrade from. I'm just saying it's part.
Joey.
It's
No, you're right.
still it's still psychoactive in the pee, and then so they would drink Santa's pee. But then they would go outside to pee, and the reindeer then actively seek out their pee.
That's brilliant.
It's a whole circle
It's
of life.
efficient.
Horrible.
Efficient.
This is nothing like the Santa
Nothing to
I know.
waste.
No, I mean, at least we know what we need to actually put out on the kitchen table.
Yeah.
When he comes
Have
down
you
the
been
chimney.
naughty or have you been nice?
It's true. Are you flying high?
Yeah.
That's all I gotta know.
What I like about this one is because there is sort of like a resurgence in like psychedelic mushroom research and like
Yes.
understanding altogether. And
There is.
the prospect of just everyone coming together at Christmas and taking mushrooms is sort of an interesting future scenario
Yeah.
that I would invite.
I mean, we're getting somewhere.
I think it would dramatically change the tension at holiday dinners.
Yes.
This podcast nor this company
it may not
sponsors any
remove
kind
the
of
tension of
changes
holiday
to the holiday season tradition.
I just imagine like Timothy Leary, Ram Dass, and Santa Claus like as part of the new Christmas mythology. I think
I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
I'm on board with
One of the guys who was kind of behind this and kind of drawing it out as a historian, his background is in looking into psychedelic effects during like the Gospels and also like any type of mythology. So he's like Dionysus, they were all on,
They were all
they were
on
licking
mushrooms.
frogs and kind of all the rest of it. And yeah, his idea was actually that it would lead us back to the true meaning of Christmas, where kind of self-reflection and gifts to one another that are not.
What's like really interesting is that the holiday still falls like at the sort of depths of winter when there's no light and no sunshine, and like all of the research that they're doing around mushrooms and psychedelics right now is around sort of like reducing anxiety, reducing depression, reducing addiction. And they're, like Johns Hopkins just built like this year a $17 million lab to study just psychedelics. And so like if those things are true, one, we don't have to play anymore. We can just take mushrooms.
Naturally.
Two, like there's sort of like that's the peak time of the year where people are like in Lapland, right? Like there is no sunshine in the depths of winter in Lapland, and so like just take some mushrooms.
Yeah. Get those kids microdosing, I think.
It might
This
bring back
podcast does not
recess.
support the microdosing of any
Of
kind
children.
psychedelic drug for children.
We've got some blue. We've got some blue.
We got some blue.
Yes. So what else do we need to know?
Right. Okay, so I think that is just some nice, solid mushroom facts. The largest mushroom.
We're just here for the facts. Everyone is just here for the facts.
Into it.
My bad. So the largest mushroom in the world, or largest fungus in the world. So the underneath, the underground is the mycelium, and then the mushroom is what sprouts up above ground. But the largest one in the world is, it's 2,400 years old
No.
minimum. It covers nearly 3,000 acres. and I forgot to write down how many tons it weighs, but it's many hundreds.
It's too many.
Yeah, too many.
Many tons.
Yeah,
I don't
many
like it.
hundreds of
I
tons.
don't like it.
Well,
It's terrifying.
the part that I love about this is puns, because
Isn't that how you feel about life in general?
no, I mean I'm not against it. The like mycelium network is really interesting, but they call it the Wood Wide Web. Wood Wide Web.
Nice.
Wood Wide Web.
Wood Wide
The
Web.
Wood Wide Web.
Yes, because
Yes.
more research is coming out that's pointing to it being basically like the brain of the forest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it does crazy stuff like a fungus and a tree will kind of pair up like a buddy comedy, and the mushroom
It's
fungus
very
will
entertaining. You have to go even slower than turtle slow motion play.
For that to be fine. It's true.
But yeah, it will head out, the fungus will head out to try and find nutrients and food. And when it does, it releases a hormone that makes the tree's cells grow in that direction. And then as a prize, it will take 1/3 of the nutrients for the fungus, but it will also filter out metallic pollutants. So when they went to Chernobyl, they found that, don't eat the mushrooms at Chernobyl.
Noted.
Big no.
Very important.
It was on my list.
Not a place to forage.
What did the pine tree say to the oak tree? There's a fungus among us.
No. Aaron, we need our own for that too.
I'm good.
I'm a fun guy. Could have done it also. No.
Solid.
Wait,
No.
but what happened to the radioactive fungi?
Oh, it had, because there was a certain metallic radioactive element, the fungus filters out all of those properties and then sprouts up in the fall as mushrooms. So all those mushrooms would just be full of radioactive metal stuff.
Yeah, the mycelium thing is interesting because they're starting to use it in oil spills and places like that where they're dropping patties of mycelium because it's so interconnected as a network that sort of resembles a brain that it is figuring out how to process almost everything. So they'll drop mycelium where they're we don't know how to get rid of this oil. They put it down and then it figures out a way to process the oil and clears it out.
Yeah, and there are certain ones that are picky eaters and other ones that aren't. And the ones that aren't, you can just do everything with. Clear up all
great.
your oil spills.
I mean, I will say, what I've learned right now.
Wine
is that-
stains?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, what I've learned is that mushrooms in general are really, really useful. And we've been talking a little bit too about mushrooms and cooking and how mushrooms are one of the few things that you can't possibly overcook.
Is that true?
It is. No. You can burn them.
She's done
You can
it.
burn them, but if you actually saute a mushroom for 3 hours versus sauteing it for 20 minutes, it's going to have the same flavor intensity. It's going to have the same texture, and it comes.
We have
Two
some
disagreements in the
hard
front.
disagrees coming from
But
the audience.
this is because mushrooms are actually, their cell walls are lined with chitin, which does not break down as quickly. It's a polymer.
Naturally,
It's a
it's
naturally-
of course.
Well, it's a naturally occurring polymer, and it actually keeps the cell intact, keeps the mushroom together, and makes it easier to not overcook a mushroom. They're really helpful. They're really
Underdone.
And that's what bugs tend to be a little made of.
Overworked.
Yes. Now you overworked. Now, Joey, you did tell me as well that is part of chitin makes up a lot of exoskeletons of insects.
I
right?
thought it did. I was wrong.
You were wrong.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wrong. It's in your lungs.
Oh, how clever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, but I like the idea too that fungus is this gross thing that no one wants to touch, but meanwhile it's doing the Lord's work
Yeah.
in the forest soil, just being I got this, guys. We're good.
I'm on it.
I'm saving the trees.
Yeah.
I'm getting you high. I'm feeding you. I'm doing all of the work here. Can you just pick up some of the slack?
And I think actually the honey fungus, which is the biggest one in the world, the reason that they found out how large it was is because it's a parasitical one that eats or kills trees. So they worked out this kind of whole area where everything had died, and it was just because this underground network had just killed it and eaten it. But that particular type of mushroom is also, it can be bioluminescent, which is where fairy lights and foxfire comes from, is people spotting kind of spooky, fabulous mushroom stuff.
Spooky, fabulous mushrooms.
TM.
I love that so
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about animal intelligence too, and a bunch of and we talked about swine intelligence and 30 to 50 feral hogs in 3 to 5 minutes. We had a whole discussion about that, or octopus intelligence. But even more foreign is the idea that like mushrooms are like just quietly shading us from the forest and like judging you when you're like walking there. Like I wouldn't wear those boots with that Patagonia sweater.
And I think as well,
That's all I have. I just wanted like shady mushrooms.
I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
it did lead me down the path of slime mold.
Yes.
But
Wait, what's the path of slime? The path of the slime mold.
the path of slime mold was an internet path, kind of with, from mushrooms to slime mold. And slime mold is not a fungus. It was initially, they thought it was a fungus, but then they found out it's more like a kind of amoeba, but they're finding that appears to have, it can remember things and it can take certain actions despite not having, has no like nervous system, it has no brain, but it's amazing.
Like remembering amoebas.
Yeah,
is
it remembers, they do
the
it.
title of your band, but also
Naturally. Any Gloomhaven fans? Board game? We got one. Okay,
There's one
we got
person.
one. This is for you.
That ratio checks out to me.
There is a horrible enemy in this intensely complicated board game that is the ooze.
Ooh.
And the ooze multiply and they chase you down. They're impossible to kill. They will block your paths, and they were based off of the slime mold.
Yeah.
I see you. I'm here.
So maybe fungus has just had a really bad PR team.
Absolutely.
The ooze. I mean, Ghostbusters had some of this going on.
true.
Ninja Turtles.
Oh, but the Ninja
great
Turtle
movie,
ones was really
great
good.
song.
Yeah. Oh, wait, which one? The Go Ninja?
Yes.
Go Ninja. Go?
Yes, correct.
Just being sure I was following.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So maybe we just need to like rewrite the story about
Yeah.
fungus.
Let's rewrite the story about fungus, y'all. Are you with me?
Howard Dean.
Do we have any other key fungus facts?
Oh God. Okay. Yes, actually,
Great.
Luke Perry's one of his dying wishes was to be buried in a suit made of mushroom.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Is it like, I wonder with that magical chitin stuff that can't possibly ever be overcooked, could that be fashioned into clothing?
Yes.
Could it have made him not an overactor?
Oh,
Too
that
soon?
is rude,
Yikes.
Joey.
Too
He
That
was
is
great
brutal.
on
We're
Riverdale.
talking
Doesn't
about
seem like a
death
90210 audience.
No, but it is a Riverdale audience, aren't you? You got some. I know. I
Luke
see.
Perry in Riverdale?
Was there
Absolutely.
any kind of precedent for the mushroom suit situation?
Yes. So that was when I was talking earlier about mushrooms that are picky about what they eat and ones that aren't. The ones that aren't, you can form them around certain
Luke
they will form a
Perry's.
kind of lattice structure. Around what?
Luke Perry's.
Oh. Yeah, including.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can form them around certain structures, and they're creating like incredibly like beautiful leather that is made of mushroom. You have to make sure that once it's done, it's growing. You bake it to kill it. Otherwise, when it rains, it's just like
Sprouting
fabulous shoulder
fashion.
pads of like
Yes.
mushrooms.
Ooh, I'd like just like a mushroom hat.
But-
Just like a small chapeau. That's
An
like,
important question. Can you overcook it?
Can you overcook a mushroom? Ooh,
Or the mushroom suit?
apparently not.
the answer is no. The suit will never be
Bake
cooked.
it for a day
Yeah.
or 7.
Slowly.
It's fine.
Baking is different than cooking.
Okay,
Thank
so you cook this. You cook the mushroom leather.
You cook the mushroom
And
leather,
then
you bake it, and then it is already naturally antimicrobial, so you don't have to. It's really difficult to make. So anyone who has like sensitive skin, it's very hard or expensive to make fabrics antimicrobial. Whereas this is naturally that. It has some other benefits that I wrote down on a longer bit of paper.
Elsewhere. That's beautiful. This is really fascinating to me because I didn't even know all of these other uses for fungus.
Yeah, I think it's people that only just starting to get what's happening, and that especially with the forest network,
A
people
fungal
are
awakening.
just starting to understand.
Yeah. Wait. Why are we giving?
Title of your book.
Why are we giving extra attention to fungus right now? Is that a thing that's happening? Do we care more about mushrooms now?
Yes.
I mean, we clearly care more.
And-
I have
I
no
mean,
idea
I
why.
personally care more now because this is very cool. But is this like a universal trend happening?
I mean, we're certainly having a lot more conversations about general like ecosystems and like how we're actually going to make it through the actual apocalypse of climate change. And so I'd imagine that I am really doom and gloom today, but I think that we are having a lot. We're having a lot more conversations about what are the unknown or the unsung heroes that are in our ecosystems that we do need to protect. And I do think that we're having more conversations about insects, right? Like there's a lot of conversations with the forest fires where we're talking about how we're tearing out the first rung of our ecosystem and all the knock-on effects that's actually going to have for us and future generations. And so I think that there is a greater awareness for how we sit together with different organisms and how we're going to make it through this.
We're also talking a lot more about microdosing and getting high on mushrooms.
This is true.
Yeah.
I mean, the spikes in anxiety that we talk about with kids are also true of, right, older people in general. So, I mean, there have been a lot more conversations about how can you get the perfect dose of something that opens you up, doesn't necessarily get you to a psychotropic space, but helps you kind of ease into the world a little bit more. So I think we're trying to find new ways battle that anxiety.
And how can you get the perfect look for fall at an affordable, environmentally friendly price point?
Mushroom
With
jackets.
very sensitive skin.
Yes.
Wow.
Mushroom chapeau. Cool.
Answered.
I think we did it.
I think
I
we
think
did
we
it.
did it.
Daisy,
I think we
this
nailed
has
it.
been incredible. Thank you so much for
You're the
coming.
best. Daisy
you,
Walker.
Daisy.
Everybody thank Daisy Walker.
All right.
The next hot take is there are mushrooms in all of the beers. Surprise!
Just kidding, there aren't. For our third and final hot take, please give our greatest round of applause possible. Sorry, that was weird. To Katie Sadow and Ilana Bondell.
Thanks.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Ilana.
I'm Katie.
And tonight,
We present the
a definitive ranking of jams. 10. Raspberry.
9. Strawberry.
Strawberry.
8. Toe.
7. Traffic.
Muffins.
6. Tomato.
5. Jamiroquai.
4. Jambalaya.
3. Space Jam.
2. Jammies.
1. Slow jams.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was worried there at the end.
No.
I was like, how did Jamiroquai make it and not slow jams? And you did not disappoint.
No, that was really fantastic, and thank God for the slow
I have
jam.
contention about jammies.
Really?
I think it should be higher.
Yeah? No.
Higher than 2?
Yes. I
Where
think
else
it should be
will it
1A
go?
and 1B. Slow jams in jammies is a better jam. I think.
There was a lot of on that one. Wow.
Like,
We see where you're at. All right.
I hadn't considered this. I'm an innovator. I think.
You're a thought leader.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Okay, if you can believe it, we're already at our final segment. Beep, beep, nope. Lightning round.
Lightning round! Lightning round! Pew, pew, pew.
Okay, here's how the lightning round works. Thank you all for submitting your topics into the hat. For this last
This
segment,
is sheer terror.
Yeah. Oh, God.
here's how this works. We'll be pulling out these topics and talking about them until I then stop them from talking about it and we move on to the next one. And we're going to try to do as many as we can in the next several minutes.
Okay. All right.
Are we ready?
Hold on. Stretching. Here we go.
A breathing moment. Okay. Let's begin. This is great. Dolly effin' Parton.
Yes. There is no better songwriter in American history.
Wow, bold. I
Just
mean,
gonna
the
go
hot
there.
take, everyone
Wow.
agrees. There we
That
go.
woman has done more for music and people and uniting different people together.
hair.
And I don't know feminism that she doesn't call feminism, but is feminism in its spirit in a really amazing way. Like she's an icon, a legend. We need to pay attention to everything that she does all the time. Dolly effing Parton.
Thought I was coming in hot with
Toasty.
Dolly's version is better than Whitney's version, and
Of what?
I
Of what? No, but of what though?
I will always love
Yeah,
you.
yes.
That was the high part
Wow.
yeah,
of the song.
he only does the high notes.
Yeah. And you're wrong, but that's cool.
Okay, next one. Which vegetables can you eat like an apple?
Onions.
That is.
No. My husband
The
actually
first
does
one you
this.
think of is onion?
My husband actually does this.
Peeled at least?
I love him, obviously. Yeah. Well, you gotta peel it first. You don't want the onion
It
skin.
feels like an Imodium commercial.
In what circumstance? Branch.
What?
I need to know.
Yeah, no, he's
Just
I won't
casually?
eat a dish with an onion in it.
Yeah, you're like
And you're talking about just eating a raw onion in your hand. In what situation would someone see you eating a raw onion in your hand like an apple and not think that you are clinically insane?
he my boo. So
Married
I
it.
got- Married it.
Put a ring on it.
Amen.
I can't believe someone put this in and we're not talking about it. No, I just can't. It's so bad. Okay, Richard Harris or Michael Gambon as Dumbledore? Question mark.
I don't know which one's which. First
Okay,
Dumbledore, not second Dumbledore.
For clarity's sake, in the films 1 and 2, there was one actor as Dumbledore,
Oh,
and then
I thought
in
it
the
extended
following
longer.
films there was a
Second
different
Dumbledore,
Dumbledore.
yeah.
I feel like people have really strong opinions. For all in favor of Richard, say
Dumbledore
blue.
2 or Dumbledore 1?
In one is
Yeah,
one is Mr. Richard.
Gambon?
Yeah, Michael Gambon was definitely number 2,
I don't know
the more
who either of these
lively
people
animated
are.
Dumbledore.
Has anyone else not seen any of the Harry Potters?
Oh my goodness!
That is
you.
a hot
We're
take.
moving
My
on. We're
people.
moving on. Mayonnaise
Thank you.
is the question. That's all that's available here.
Ooh, okay, so
No.
I'm not gonna say who did it. Okay, so mayonnaise is awful, great for the lactose intolerant, whatever. But there is a food company that has been creating mayo must, which is a combination of mayo and mustard that is on the
No.
shelves.
Yeah.
They've been combining multiple condiments as
Mayo chup?
Mayo.
It's Heinz.
It-
It's Heinz, and they're making mayo chup, but mayo must is a mayo must not. Because that is terrible. If there's anything
you
I
put it
don't
on?
want more than just mayo, it is musty mayo.
Well, this is the thing. Like sometimes I'll make like pesto mayo at home, right? Like you want your sandwich to have a little bit of a zhuzh to it, but like I don't want to buy that in a
Can
bottle.
you zhuzh mayo?
Absolutely.
It's still mayo.
Nah, but it's zhuzhed.
Okay, how about we talk instead about children with old people names?
Yes. 100%.
What
For
kind
example,
Yes.
is just like Henry an old person name?
No.
I'm thinking of
full-blown-
like Bernice,
Oh, yeah.
Bertha,
Give us some
other
Jebediah.
B names.
Nancy,
Phyllis, Gertrude.
Gertrude,
Oh,
yeah.
we're getting some great.
I like this.
Ethel.
feel-
Oh, definitely.
I feel like the real answer is that I may have accidentally given my daughter a made-up old person name.
Oh no.
Emerson is basically like an old person, an old man from like 1837.
And he sounds a little like this, which is the voice that I always end up doing for old people. Okay, that didn't land as well as I thought it would. It's cool. It's cool. I like you guys.
Do we think that changes who the children become? Like, do you become like the old person name that you've been given?
Not if we teach the children well. I think, you know, we've been saying a lot about how millennials and Gen Z are soft, and if you can deal with a little ribbing as a Gertrude, you can do anything. Like starting a startup in your spare time.
Names matter though. Like the way that people look at you, speak to you, the way you show up in the world, like that's a big thing. And like there are names that will signal things about you.
But it's easy for you to say your last name is Powers.
Okay. Good point. But
you're coming out hot.
case in point, though, so I won't give my middle name, but Aaron, I almost threw it there. But my brother's middle name is Ugoma, right? And so as a kid, he's growing up and he's like, Ken U Powers, and everybody's like, is that Ulysses? Like, what is this? And he has to explain, like, no, it's beautiful eagle in Swahili, but it's actually not because my parents got the wrong word. No, it's a whole other thing. But
It
like,
actually means talkie farts.
it's like completely but like he carries that name with him and he really has to pay attention to how he shows up in different spaces with that name. So I think that names matter. Names are important and we can give young kids old names.
Is it better to have like a random old person name or just like a generic super boring name? Like Joseph is just like it is the air of names. It is it is
the water of nomenclature.
It is unsparkled water at a
Room temperature.
Italian
100%.
red sauce joint that has been in the same place for 75 years.
But we still like you, Joseph.
Yeah.
You're all right.
That's you.
You're all right.
Actually, speaking of, I've just drawn this card that says Joey's birthday on it. It's today. You might have a party hat under your seat. You might not.
Yes.
And he's going to totally kill me for this, but because we normally sing on the show, it would be really cool if we could just sing
is
happy
so
birthday to
awkward.
both Joey and to the show. Join me. Happy
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joseph. Happy birthday to you. All right, let's
like
not
this
linger.
show, it was better after than before.
Yeah. It's true. Okay, how about we skip straight to the Fast and Furious franchise?
Okay, we got to start
Incredible.
with the wrong. Also, made an entirely too horrible amusement park ride at Universal Studios. It is the worst thing
That's
I
where
have
you
ever.
go with this?
Of course, it's wow. That got high. Got worked up over this, but I'm just saying it's a terrible franchise. The cars are cool, The Rock is awesome, but that's all I got.
I think it's an incredible franchise that has made American jobs flourish because of how many extras they have. The issue is that all of the extras are getting murdered and we're not talking about it. Fast and Furious 6 takes place in Spain where they are driving a tank the wrong way down a highway and just murdering everyone on the highway, and it's just never addressed.
It is 10 films that are essentially an Olive Garden commercial because
For
when you
murder.
hear your family, that's all you got.
Your family.
Your family. That's
I will say
some groans out of that one.
I will say it has put Vin Diesel in our lives for way too long.
No,
I think we can all agree to that.
Disagree. He can stick around.
Vin Diesel is wearing lifts in all of the Fast and the Furious movies.
As a man of a certain height, I'm okay with that.
Vin Diesel is like 5'6", and he
Hey,
is
no height shaming Vin Diesel.
But he's in fights with The Rock, who is like 6'4", like 320 pounds.
I can take him. It's cool. I got it.
Okay, guys, I've decided which we should end on because we have two that are the same,
Oh, ooh.
and it's amazing. Do you want to know what it is? It's wearing sweatpants in public, or alternately outside the home. Let's just talk
Okay,
about
okay.
that.
Do the sweatpants look like sweatpants?
Is it a swoot?
Is it like sweggings or sweats or like
A
sweat
swoot.
jeans?
Oh, a swoop?
A swoot, a suit made of sweatpant material.
I've never. Am I supposed to understand this cultural reference? There's audible groaning from the audience.
It's from The New Girl.
I feel very strong.
Is this
feel-
something that like
I
Barney
didn't invent
Stinson
it.
from How I Met Your Mother would wear? Like still a suit, but comfortable, casual.
Pretty on.
I think I want to be into it. I want to live in a world where I'm just a guy just walking out of my house in sweatpants, feeling, footloose and fancy free, taking on the day, going out to play, work, have an adventure.
Cavendish banana. I got it in.
It's in.
Got one in.
It is a Cavendish banana in my pocket.
Joey!
Thank goodness we can cut this from the actual posting. This is a secret that we keep here. in this room.
Now, I do believe
Forever.
that sweatpants are the new jean, right? Like denim was like, it was workwear and then it was casual wear and then people are wearing jeans to work. Again, it's very complicated. But then we got the athleisure moment and it's like, let's wear tights to work. Cool, cool, cool. Sweats are the next evolution, but I don't think that we have the right silhouette for sweats to wear to work yet. I think they are.
Is the
No?
silhouette
Yeah.
the issue?
Are there-
What about the tapered ankle, weird puff out at the knee sweatpants that are sort of...
Joggers?
Yes.
Okay, so joggers
Maybe.
we can do joggers. Is that actually what I'm hearing?
Is it the material
I
that's
am
the
wrong.
issue, or is it the silhouette? That's what I want to know.
Silhouette. Absolutely
It's
right.
I think it's our
silhouette.
slow-moving cultural interpretation of what a sweatpant
Oh
can
my
be.
God.
Wow.
Is there like some kind of
Thought leader in
porn
the
that
room.
Okay.
Did
Great.
we do it?
Yeah, we'll
What
be
was
done now.
the... We can't talk about it.
Sharding? Sharding people?
I see the wheels.
Pro
they
as
fell
a
off.
word? You know, con as a real thing that happens to a person in public.
It's deep, Joey.
Con is an experience.
Yes. Yes.
Great
Something
joke.
to be present for.
Not funny in real life.
That's true. Okay, wow. Thank you for all your amazing submissions. This was
Weird.
better than we could have imagined. Well, that's sort of it. We have a lot of people to thank, of course, and
Yes.
it's one of our favorite parts of the show on the Real Life Show, giving special thanks. Joey, start us off.
Critical Nonsense is a Sylvain Labs production, regarded as the greatest production at Sylvain Labs, I think. Recorded in a strange IKEA living room setting right here.
This night really could not have been possible without the production help of the inimitable, indispensable Sarah Gilbert.
Yeah!
Sarah just yelled "Shart" from the back.
Thanks for
It
that.
was sharp. Yeah.
It must have been her
Yeah.
submission.
Um,
She's so proud.
We'd like to thank executive producer and Wonder Woman Jess Vander for helping us put on this show.
Huge shout outs to the entire Hot Take crew. We had Osei Kwakye, Hannah Yeager, Ilana Bondell, I don't know why I gave you a Hannah, and Katie Sadow.
Today's show 100% would not have been possible without Sarah Gilbert for everything she did, including putting Shart in the hat.
Yeah, we got to just give her double thanks.
You get two. You get
Shart
two.
in the hat is the name of your
We're
album.
just skipping around. It's great. This is live. We're doing it live.
We also want to thank the amazing, the inspiring, the sprightly Dylan Fowler for making everything. Where's Dylan at?
All of the outfit
Dylan
changes. I
at?
hope
Yes.
there were
There he is.
outfit changes. Put your heather together?
Your Heather together.
Put your hands together for our DJ and mix master and all around helpful guy, DJ Little Tiger, aka Les Jacobs.
And our sound engineer and videographer, Alex Contell, with help from Tommaso Sacconi.
As always, we want to thank designer Nora Mestrich for our beautiful cover art, for the thank you cards that we'll be sending, and most importantly, for bringing Jackie to the live show.
By the way, we have special thank you notes, and if you want one, we have a few that you can take with you after the show.
Yeah.
That is all.
And as always, thank you for the time, the space, and the inspiration of Alain.
Thanks, Alain.
Also, I have to thank these guys. Thanks,
Oh,
Joey.
man.
Thanks,
Oh my
Eric.
gosh.
Oh, thanks.
We did- yeah.
I had no
That's
idea
the
that
clap
was
we
coming.
deserved.
Thank you.
Because he stares me down.
Now, this is our favorite part of the show
It
for
is.
anyone who has actually listened all the way to the end of the show, which is the special thanks.
Special thanks, Joey. Who are you giving a special thanks to right now?
I'd like to thank Vin Diesel's lifts.
The ones in his shoes, yes?
Yes,
Not
correct.
the, like, bench press lifts.
Maybe both.
Duh, okay.
I'm down with both.
I'd like to thank Dolly F. and Parton. It's easy.
Crowd
Right.
pleaser.
Of course. What else you got?
I would like to thank Groot for being the full tour de force of all of Vin Diesel's acting capabilities.
That's fair. That's fair.
I am Groot.
Yeah, I am Groot.
I'm giving you a curveball. I'd like to thank Paramount's Kings Island in Cincinnati, Ohio for building a 300-plus foot Giga Coaster that just got topped off yesterday.
What is a Giga Coaster?
It's exciting. It's a Giga Coaster. It's above 300 feet. That's
It's
important.
bigger than a Kilocoaster.
It's bigger than a
Smaller
Hypercoaster.
than
no,
a Terracoaster.
You're getting sassy.
Also,
like
I
it.
just need to make sure that we again thank Daisy Walker for all of the amazing
Yes,
Amen,
Daisy Walker.
fun guy
Amen,
facts.
Daisy.
And also, I'd like to thank the giant fungus, honey fungus.
Honey mushroom fungus?
I don't know what it was called, but man, that sounds gigantic and it's awesome, but also terrifying.
And ticks.
Antics. Do you guys have any special thanks? Any random things that you want to shout out?
Just yell
Just
special
yell 'em.
thanks.
Yeah. Any special thanks?
None.
Katie.
No gratitude from you at all.
On the spot.
It's okay.
Junior
Mints?
Mints. Honestly, I might say one of the superior movie theater candies. Milk Duds are an inferior movie theater candy.
No.
Whoa.
Yellow glow stick to that opinion.
Yeah.
Did someone say ducks? Because I could thank ducks. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'm going to go have a beer. Yeah?
Yep.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
All right, we're going to go have snacks now. Thanks for coming.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.